Welcome back to the channel, USD Coins everyone. Today we have something truly fascinating to talk about. We're going to dive deep into the world of coin collecting and numismatics, specifically focusing on one very special coin that has captivated the attention of collectors across the globe. Get comfortable because this is going to be a long, detailed, and incredibly intriguing story about a single coin that could potentially be worth as much as $40 million. That's right. $40 million for one penny. And not just any penny, it's the 1999 D-Liberty 1-cent coin. The value of this coin doesn't come from its face value of 1 cent, obviously. It comes from its errors, its mistakes, its mint mark, its rarity, and the remarkable possibilities it represents. Imagine this, a coin you could have in your pocket right now could be the most valuable penny on the planet. That is the allure of numismatics. Every once in a while, a coin that was never supposed to exist or was produced with errors that make it stand out will circulate and eventually wind up in someone's hands who doesn't even realize its worth. That coin could end up at a garage sale, it could end up at the bottom of an old box, or it could just as easily be spent at a store like any other penny. But if someone looks closer and recognizes what they have, it could change their life forever. The 1999 D-Liberty 1-cent coin is one of those coins. The Denver Mint produced millions of pennies in 1999, most of them completely ordinary. However, a very small number of them contain errors so profound that they've caught the eyes of the most serious collectors and numismatic professionals around the world. These errors can take many forms. Maybe it's a double die, where the coin was struck more than once, creating a doubling of letters or images that can clearly be seen with the naked eye. Maybe it's an off-center strike, where the design is shifted slightly and part of the coin is blank. Maybe it's a wrong planchet error, one of the most spectacular kinds of mint mistakes, where the coin is struck on a blank that was intended for a different denomination entirely. But what if we told you that one of these coins contains so many errors at once that it breaks the boundaries of what was thought possible? What if this 1-cent coin exhibits doubling on liberty, doubling on the date, an off-center strike, a faint or partial mint mark, die cracks that run across the coin's surface, a rotation error so significant that the reverse is upside down compared to the front, and even striations that indicate a damaged or misaligned die at the mint? All these errors present together would make this coin not just rare, but virtually unique. And that is why collectors and investors have considered its value to be up to $40 million, an astronomical figure for a single penny. You might be wondering how errors like these happen in the first place. The US Mint has some of the most advanced coining processes and machinery in the world. Quality control is typically extremely tight. However, mistakes can and do happen. Coin dies can be created incorrectly. Planchets, the blank discs that coins are struck on, can be misfed into the machines. Machines can malfunction. Even more rarely, coins can be struck multiple times if they fail to eject properly. When a coin is created in one of these unusual ways and still manages to leave the mint and enter circulation, it becomes one of those treasure pieces that collectors dream about finding. The 1999 D-Liberty 1-cent coin is fascinating because it is part of that series produced at the Denver Mint, hence the D mint mark, but it possesses distinctive mistakes that, when carefully studied, cannot be replicated. Experts use magnification, high-powered microscopes, and advanced imaging to authenticate these errors. Every tiny feature is examined. The rim, the lettering, the positioning of the mint mark, the surface luster, and even the micro-scratches all tell a story. If the story matches up with a one-of-a-kind minting mistake, the coin's status skyrockets and its value reaches those incredible figures. Numismatic experts will often talk about the 1999 D-Liberty penny in hushed tones, because to encounter one is extremely rare. Almost mythical. Some say that only one or two coins with this level of errors exist. Others believe that there may be more out there, tucked away in someone's piggy bank or coin jar, just waiting to be discovered. It's this tantalizing possibility that keeps treasure hunters searching through rolls of pennies, hoping that the next one they examine will reveal the kind of errors that make this coin so valuable. What are these errors exactly? Let's take a closer look at each one. First, there's the double die. This is where the die itself, the the hardened steel punch that impresses the design into the planchet, contains an error. The design was accidentally impressed into the die twice, slightly offset. Every coin struck by this die will show a doubling of the design elements. On the 1999 Liberty penny, this might manifest in doubled letters in Liberty, the date, and even the inscriptions on the reverse of the coin. Double die errors are some of the most collectible errors in the numismatic world. Next is the off-center strike. This happens when the planchet is not correctly aligned in the press when the dies come together. This can produce a coin that looks lopsided, with a blank crescent where no design was struck at all. Some off-center strikes can be quite dramatic, up to 50% off-center or more, and the more off-center the strike is without losing the date or mint mark, the more valuable it can become. We also have to mention the possibility of rotation errors. Normally, if you flip a US coin top to bottom, the reverse is perfectly upright. But sometimes a die is misaligned, and the back of the coin is rotated relative to the front. A small rotation of a few degrees might not add much value, but a significant rotation, 90 degrees or even 180 degrees, can add substantial rarity and desirability. Die cracks are another fascinating feature. As dies wear out over time, they can develop cracks. When coins are struck with cracked dies, the cracks transfer to the coin as raised, jagged lines. Serious collectors sometimes specialize in coins with these cracks and enjoy documenting the progression of a die as it deteriorates. If you add prominent die cracks to all the other errors present on the coin, you have an incredibly unique artifact that tells the story of the minting process as much as it displays an image of Lincoln. And let's not forget about the planchet errors. Occasionally, coins are struck on the wrong planchet. This can produce coins that have the size, color, or metallic content of another denomination. Imagine a penny struck on a dime planchet, a rare and fascinating mismatch that collectors pay serious money for. The 1999 Liberty penny in question may also show evidence of this kind of error, further compounding its value. All of these errors together on one coin are virtually impossible under normal circumstances. That's what gives the 1999 Liberty 1-cent coin its legendary status. There might be one or two coins like this in the entire world, making its estimated value of $40 million seem almost conservative. Of course, the final price would depend on an auction and on the collectors who recognize the coin's historical and numismatic significance. But the very idea that a 1-cent coin could be so valuable is thrilling. Collectors search for coins like this with a sharp eye and a lot of patience. Every year, millions of pennies are sifted through in the hopes of discovering one of these minting miracles. Many people don't realize that they might already own such a coin, sitting in a jar on a shelf, or spent years ago at a local store. This adds an extra layer of excitement to the process. Imagine finding this treasure by pure luck. The coin community is filled with stories of people who bought rolls of coins from the bank and stumbled across incredible rarities just like this. In conclusion, the 1999 Liberty 1-cent coin is an example of the unpredictable, thrilling world of numismatics. Its errors, its story, and its potential $40 million value make it one of the most coveted coins in existence. Even if most of us will never hold one in our hands, simply knowing that a penny like this is out there, and that it could change someone's life, is enough to ignite the passion for coin collecting. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of rare coins. Keep looking closely at your change, and maybe one day, you'll find your own numismatic treasure. Today we're going to dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of coin collecting and numismatics. It's one of those tales that sounds too good to be true, but it contains so many lessons about the beauty of coin errors, mint marks, and the way the market can suddenly place an incredible value on a seemingly ordinary penny. What we're going to talk about is the 1999 Liberty 1-cent coin from the United States, which is now said to be worth a staggering $5.2 million. That's right. A penny that most of us wouldn't hesitate to leave behind at a cash register could end up being valued like a treasure or a priceless work of art. Let's jump into the story, because what you'll discover about this coin is going to make you look at pocket change a little bit differently from now on. First, let's talk a little bit about what this coin is and where it comes from. The United States 1-cent coin, more commonly referred to as the penny, has been a part of daily American life for centuries. Almost everyone who's ever held U.S. currency has come into contact with one of these coins at some point. Designed with the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and a tribute to his life and work on the reverse, the penny is a small but significant part of the economy. It's also one of the most heavily produced coins. Every year, the United States Mint strikes millions upon millions of pennies to ensure that there's always enough circulating for everyday transactions. That brings us to the year 1999. The Mint was using high-speed machines capable of producing hundreds of coins per second, so most people assumed these coins were all perfect. However, as any collector will tell you, perfection is never guaranteed. Every so often, something goes slightly wrong in the minting process. Sometimes it's a minor issue with the die, sometimes a problem with alignment, and sometimes an accident at the mint itself. Errors can occur at virtually every stage of a coin's production. That's where our story begins, with one particular 1999 penny that looks innocent enough at first glance but is very far from ordinary. The coin we're discussing today is often referred to as the 1999 Liberty 1-cent coin, a coin that is so rare and so distinctive that it has captivated coin collectors across the world. You might wonder what could possibly make a penny this valuable. The answer lies in the errors that occurred during its production. Imagine this coin under a magnifying glass. First, look closely at its mint mark, or rather, look for its mint mark. On most pennies produced in the United States, there is a small letter indicating the mint where the coin was struck. The most common mint marks you'll find are P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco. But this particular coin is missing its mint mark entirely, which is the first sign that something went very wrong, or very right, depending on your perspective as a collector. When coins lack their expected mint mark, especially in years where they were supposed to have one, that immediately raises interest among numismatists. It suggests that a blank die was used or that a die was misaligned, which can create extreme rarity. Some errors occur on purpose as part of limited proof strikes or special sets, but those tend to be well documented. When they happen by mistake during a high-speed run of coins intended for circulation, they become incredibly valuable precisely because they weren't supposed to exist at all, and that missing mint mark is just one part of the puzzle. The second major issue with this coin is a die clash. If you look carefully, especially under good light, you can see faint traces of the reverse design transferred onto the obverse. Die clashing happens when two blank dies come into contact with each other without a planchet between them. They strike each other, and the impact leaves behind a ghostly imprint that gets transferred to any coin they strike afterward. Die clashes can vary greatly in severity, and coins with them are especially intriguing to collectors because they tell a story of an accident in the minting process. That's not all. Another notable feature on this 1999 penny is what collectors call a double die obverse, which is the result of a misalignment during the creation of the die itself. A double die can produce the effect of letters and numbers appearing to be slightly duplicated or shadowed. When you see Liberty on the coin and it looks like there's a second, fainter version of the word superimposed just off to one side, that's a classic sign of a double die. Some of the most famous and valuable coins in U.S. history are double dies. They're extremely rare and command high prices because of their visual uniqueness and the fact that they cannot be replicated once the dies have been corrected. Now, the edge of this coin also exhibits some strange behavior. If you run your fingernail around the circumference of most pennies, you'll feel a smooth, uniform ridge. On this particular coin, however, there are slight ridges and flattened areas suggesting a collar error. The collar is the ring that holds a blank planchet in place during striking, and if it's misaligned or damaged, it can cause coins to come out with a broad strike or other odd shapes. Even a minor variation in thickness, edge design, or shape can multiply the coin's value exponentially. Collectors often look at all these errors together to assess a coin's potential value. When errors stack up like this, missing mint mark, double die, die clash, and collar error, they add to one another in terms of rarity. Each error on its own might make a coin worth a few $100 or a few $1,000. But when they all appear together, on a coin already in high demand due to its rarity, you get into territory where prices skyrocket into the millions, and this is precisely why the 1999 Liberty 1-cent coin we're discussing is estimated to be worth $5.2 million. It's not just that it contains one rare error, it contains a perfect storm of errors that make it one of a kind. This particular coin is also historically significant because it comes at the end of the 20th century. Coins minted at important points in history often take on an extra layer of value just because of the stories they represent. This coin was struck at a time when the U.S. economy was booming and most people weren't thinking twice about the pennies jingling in their pockets. It's a reminder that even in times of abundance, sometimes the most overlooked things can become incredibly valuable. There's also the fact that it's a Liberty design coin. Throughout American numismatic history, the figure of Liberty has been a prominent feature on coins, especially in the earliest decades of the United States Mint. To see Liberty on a coin struck in 1999 is an unexpected twist. Normally we see Abraham Lincoln on 1-cent coins from this period, so the idea of a Liberty version hints at a prototype or a die intended for a different purpose that accidentally entered the circulation. Coin presses, that combination of historical symbolism, material rarity, and minting errors is why collectors who specialize in U.S. coins are so interested in this penny. When coins like this come up for auction, the prices can escalate quickly. Serious collectors, investors, and even museums will fight for the chance to add a piece like this to their collections, knowing full well they may never have the opportunity again. Of course, all of this raises an important question for anyone who comes across coins in their everyday life. How do you spot these errors? What can you do if you believe you have one of these treasures in your hands? The first step is always to examine coins carefully. Get into the habit of looking at the mint mark and date. Check for any doubling of words or numbers. See if the design looks shifted or blurred. Pay attention to the edge of the coin as well as the fields around the portrait and inscriptions. Unusual reflections or strange shapes can indicate an error, and it's also important to remember that even coins that don't match this perfect storm of errors can be valuable in their own right. Many collectors specialize in just one kind of error, whether it's off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or repunched mint marks. So even if you don't find the $5.2 million 1999 Liberty penny, you might still discover something that's highly collectible. Ultimately, this coin tells a powerful story about the joy of collecting and the surprises that can come from paying attention to the details. It reminds us that even something as small as a 1-cent coin can hold secrets and can become a legendary treasure. It's also a testament to the importance of history, rarity, and the unpredictable twists that make numismatics such a captivating hobby.